Hello, my name is Bill, and I remember as a kid my mom always had a can of condensed cream mushroom soup in the pantry for lunch on a cold day, or when you weren't feeling well, or to make a green bean casserole. Like always, I'm really trying to get people to stop buying all this pre-made food. So I went through some recipes, and I really thought about the fact that I want to stick with my idea that this should be easy to make. Something you can get everything from the grocery store, and healthier, and not very hard to clean up after. So obviously I have everything pre-prepared, but if I were really cooking this, I'd be just cutting up as I go, so you wouldn't have all these dirty bowls. And the guarantee is that this soup is a one-pot soup. I think it should always be that way. A lot of people use like crock pots and stuff to cook soup, but we really need to get a little heat going in the beginning. So what I have here, I got my pot heated up. I got a tablespoon of butter in there. I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. So I have a pound of mushrooms that have been sliced. So I call it mushroom soup. Alright, I'll just mix these together. Get started. Okay, looks good. And this is a cup of just chopped yellow onion and carrot. So we're just going to get everything a little softened here. The thing about mushrooms is they instantly absorb any fluid they're around. So if you've ever cooked them in butter or olive oil, right away all the liquid's gone. And the problem is if you wash mushrooms in water, they're going to absorb all this water, and then when you start to cook them, all the water comes out, and you don't want that to dilute your soup. So really, the best thing to do is before you cut up your mushrooms, you should buy them whole instead of pre-cut, because otherwise it'll be pretty hard to do. Because you can either get a little vegetable brush and brush them off, or just wipe with a paper towel just to get the dirt off. And the dirt's not like the dirt outside, it's more like a peat, and obviously mushrooms are grown in a very clean environment. Most of them are actually grown in like old coal mines in Pennsylvania, so that they can control any spores, so it's only healthy mushrooms that you can eat. I'm just going to cook this down a little bit. Want to get the fluid cooked out of the mushrooms, anything that's naturally in them. Just make sure they're not sticking. The other thing is that you could use any kind of mushrooms you want. You could use, as long as it's up to a pound. I've got buttons here because it's easier. You can use baby bellas, shiitakes, whole portobello, whatever you want. Just cut them up so they're nice equal sizes. Whatever your flavor preference is, and it's earthy, and plus what's available. Like I said, I was trying to make sure that this was like really as easy as possible, so I kept it down to just some pound of button mushrooms. The liquid's already coming out of the mushrooms, and the onion's starting to get a little soft. One of the reasons I like this recipe is I like that little bit of carrot in there. It really adds some kind of flavor, the sweetness of the carrot. Carrot has a very specific flavor. I got this idea from a recipe many moons ago. I kind of stuck with it all these years. Want to keep it nice and hot. Everything's cooking down and the liquid. So basically, I don't want to scorch the bottom of my pan. I just want to get as much of that liquid out, so it's just kind of like almost like a gravy on the bottom. While I'm waiting for that, so for flavor, I like to add 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, Just gonna add a little niceness. I like thyme. Thyme, oregano, all good things. Just about there. So in total you can expect, you're gonna cook the mushrooms for about 5 minutes. We're just about there. Onions are definitely getting clear. Need a lot of aroma now. This is great. So for the next step, to make this true cream soup, I'm going to put in a whole stick of butter. Let that melt in. So, you know, all these dairy products, butter comes from milk. Milk comes in different percentages of fat, which is really where the butter is. So that's really where the cream comes from. I do use a little bit of flour to make some of the roux. Once again, that's just to keep to kind of bind more than anything else. But you could, if you want to, you could actually just cook this long enough that everything cooked out. And so it'd just be thickened by butter and half or heavy cream. Butter's just about there. So everything's nice and soft. Down, the butter is all melted. So, you know, those really big green onions you see in this grocery store, they're actually called leeks. What's really cool is with leeks, they're very gentle, but they have a nice flavor. It's kind of more like a shallot, but just milder. You want to cut the end off, the root end, and thin slice up as far as you dare. And usually you can tell because if you slice too far, because they do grow up from the ground, you start to see some dirt in it. That's usually when I stop. So you're going to get a lot of the white at the very end and some of the green. So we're going to dump this in here. These are going to soften really quickly because they're so thinly sliced. So let's just take 2 minutes. Sweat them down. The mushrooms really starting to come out in the soup right now. Smell it. So I hope that you realize this isn't like the bland cream mushroom soup that you got out of that red and white can when you were a kid. It's got so much more flavor. It's so much nicer. It's even more eye appeal and mouthfeel. It really has mushrooms in it. And it's not just purely thickened by a bunch of flour and other preservatives that I can't pronounce. You could literally use this for anything. I mean, you could probably come up with a really great recipe for green bean casserole using this, even though I like my green bean casserole better. Leeks are getting real soft. Mushrooms are all wilted down. Carrots are soft. Onions cooking real nice. Got about 30 more seconds on the heat. Cooking right along. I used to be afraid of using anything higher than medium heat because I thought everything would stick. You just get used to your pan, how it heats up, you know how your stove heats up, and you can do anything. Alright, I got a 1/4 cup of flour in here. Mix that in nice. It's going to instantly thicken everything in here. Make it look kind of funny. Remember, always want to cook the raw flour for at least a minute. You always want to maximize the thickening power of anything you use, be it cornstarch or flour. Thyme's really releasing a lot of flavor now. It's rehydrated. And there's nothing wrong with using dried spices. Sometimes fresh isn't available. And like I said, I really try and keep this pretty simple so that anyone will want to make it from home. Okay, our flour's all nice and mushy in here with everything. So, next on the list is a cup of white wine. My same speech is that you want to use something that you drink. This happens to be a Pinot Grigio left over in the fridge. Stir real quick. And so the wine's going to deglaze the pan and get all that stuff off the bottom. Make sure everything's nice and mixed up. No lumps. Like I said, just from having on the high heat and the alcohol from the wine really helps with that. That looks really good. Okay. Alcohol's cooking out, I can tell. Nice and thick. So I got 4 cups of water. This is going to be the main part of the broth. Always, you're going to add a little thyme, especially in the beginning. So you don't want to cool the pan down. That's what's really nice. You want to have a pretty heavy bottom pan. Oh yeah. Just making sure it's all staying nice and toasty. Still remaining really nice and thick. Not over thick. It's not like gravy. You don't want it to be. I want it to be soup. Maybe when you go to a restaurant and the soup is as thick as gravy, because you know they made it really quick and just used a lot of flour. This soup we're actually going to cook. Alright, should be about halfway here. Two more shots and we'll be done with this. This is actually going to make quite a bit of soup. So you got leftovers. I love leftovers. Or you got enough left over after a meal to bench your own green bean casserole. And let me know what the recipe is. Okay, so now I've still got it pretty high. I want to bring it back up to a good rolling, I shouldn't say rolling, boil. I want definitely a good simmer. And once we do that, I want to leave it uncovered, but I'm going to let it sit on the stove simmering for 15 minutes. So at this point, just seeing those little funny bubbles all around, so I know that it's simmering. Comes a spatula. We're going to let this cook 15 minutes, and we'll be back to show you how to finish it off. Well, it's actually been about 20 minutes. The soup is really great. It's got nice and put together. It stayed nice and thick, cooked down just a little bit, so it's a good consistency. So really the only thing I have to do, so I turned it down, like I said, so it was just a little simmer. Turning it back up, just so I see a little more than a simmer, but I don't want to boil it. But what I have is, I have 2 cups, a half and half. Pour in here, gently. I know that's going to bring the temperature down a little bit, that's why it's got to be just a little warmer. So because of all the care we've put into it, it's getting really nice. Thick, like a cream soup should be. When you think about it, so we've got 6 cups of liquid in here with only a 1/4 cup of flour. So that's a really good ratio. It's just the fact we had some butter in here, a whole stick, plus the tablespoon, and 2 cups of half and half. Just make this really nice and creamy. Just let this warm through. So I want to put just a little bit of black pepper. I like black pepper, so that's okay. Use white pepper if you don't want to see the speckles. Yeah. Nice and toasty. So this is going to be a nice cream colored soup. Not that weird gray color soup that comes out of a can. It really smells great. Like I said, I just want to make sure, because that was refrigerated, the half and half, so I just want to get the chill back off again. Looks great. Alright, so I got like half a cup of Italian parsley, or flat parsley, that I cut out of the garden while we were waiting. Just want to put it in here. It's just going to give it a little fresh herb flavor. You could always leave it out if you want it. I like that freshness that comes with it. Just stir them in. Just so they start releasing a little flavor and smell good. This is great. Mixed together. And using a nice light wine, it really didn't overpower it. I can smell a little bit from it. It definitely wouldn't be the time to use one of those buttery Chardonnays, which I hate so much. Or anything sweet, you know. Anything sweet's gonna end up tasting like vermouth or sherry. And actually, I mean, some people might like the flavor of sherry in here too. I don't. Alright. Nice and toasty. Turn this off. Got my bowl, I believe. Like I said, I don't want this the consistency of gravy. It's soup. For heaven's sake, it's soup. Got those leeks in there, those carrots. Absolutely beautiful. So, like I said, if you want to, throw a little garnish on there to make it look pretty. But that is how you should make cream mushroom soup. And honestly, it'll be just as good tomorrow as it is today. I mean, isn't this absolutely beautiful? Enjoy. And like always, I want you to subscribe and comment. Most of all, I was thinking about it, and I think because of the earthiness of the mushrooms, I would definitely go outside the box and try a nice young Beaujolais with this. A red wine I think would really go well with this. So please, try it and enjoy it, and have a great day.